There's a nice one. Oh yeah. Another chunk, guys. I'm telling you, man, this bait, this rig is the trick. Dear Lord. Get this hook out before you wriggle it right in me. Oh, oh. Yep. Got me a little bit. Look at that, guys. Another chunk. Look at the size of this one. All right, guys. I'm glad you could join me today. Today we're going to be catching some big skipjack. Let me get this back in the water. I'll tell y'all what I'm talking about. All right, so there's a ton of different ways to catch these fish, and they start running right about now, that end of winter, early spring. So my favorite way to catch them with two paddle tails, and two reasonably big paddle tails kind of discriminate against some of the smaller ones. So I'm gonna get some more fish on. I'm gonna show y'all just how well it works, and then I'll take you to the office, aka my house, and show you what rig I'm using, the exact baits I'm using, and the rod I'm using. Thanks, guys. I hope you enjoy the video. I'm stoked. Oh, there we go. You want to get these fish in as fast as possible, man, because they're going to jump like that. Kind of a skinny one. Long and skinny like me. There we go. This is what we're trying to catch too. Okay. Oh wow. That is the biggest skipjack I've ever seen. Oh. Oh. Take a look, take a look, take a look. Maybe I can get him. Oh, got him. Oh my God. Oh my freaking God, guys. Look at that skipjack. That thing looks like a harpoon. What in the... That is the biggest skip I've ever seen in my life. Alright guys, look at the size of this freaking skipjack. My God. Look at that hawk. I am so excited. This is the biggest skipjack I've ever caught in my life. Oh yeah. There's another. There's another. Get you off. It's a smaller one. Gotta be real careful handling these guys too. They'll wriggle one right into you, especially with this sort of rig. And you can lip them. Nothing to worry about there. It's probably the best way to handle them. They are very slippery. Very, very slippery. So I hope you enjoyed the video. So skipjack herring, that's what we were catching today. If you're not familiar with these fish, they're a migrant species. I first found out about them when I moved to Tennessee and started fishing the Cumberland here. So they're gonna come through late winter, early spring. Right around there is when you're gonna be getting the bulk of them. I can catch them here and there, you know, they'll pop out, but they start running real hard about this time of year. This is when you can catch them 2 at a time. This is when everything you're throwing in, you're catching those fish. You're trying to catch largemouth bass, you're using a paddle tail, you're catching a skipjack. It's basically how it goes. So they're not good eating. However, they're some of the best bait that's out there. Extremely fun to fight. As soon as you get one on, you're gonna know it. You're gonna feel your rod wiggling at 100 miles per hour. It's just, you know, you got a skipjack on. You want to pull them in as fast as possible because they will wriggle right off anything. You're gonna catch them on your inline spinners, your spoons, anything that mimics a bait fish, paddle tail, swim baits, that sort of thing. So we were throwing basically a donkey rig with 2 paddle tails, and you can catch them 2 at a time. My buddies taught me this. We were out there. You can double up on that real easy using that rig. Unfortunately, it was extremely cold, so I didn't have the opportunity to do that. If I would have stayed out probably a little bit longer, we would have, but we got about an hour and a half in and I decided to pack it up. I had enough footage to make a real good video, a few real fat ones on, probably the biggest one I've ever caught before. Then again, to say that every time I catch a real huge one, because I don't necessarily weigh those fish or take measurements or anything. They're just fun to catch. So I was using the Zoom Swimmin Fluke Junior, or Zoom Super Fluke, Swimmin Super Fluke Junior, excuse me, in white ice. So this is one of my favorite paddle tails. I've already made a video on this. Basically, some guys, when they can't get a bite, they're throwing a Ned rig. Me, I'm throwing one of these. I know if the fish aren't biting this, they're not biting anything. So I fish these for these skipjack. I'm throwing them on a 1/8 ounce ball head jig. I'm rigging them up 2 at a time. So the reason I'm using this instead of an EWG is because these fish have smaller mouths. I do snip a bit of the nose off. I'll probably take just shy of a 1/2 inch off there, because like I said, they do have smaller mouths. It's not like a largemouth bass that can suck down anything. So having such a longer, I guess, swim bait is going to discriminate against some of the smaller ones. That's how we're catching them so fat and big today. If we were throwing a tiny little paddle tail, we'd probably be pulling them in every cast. But this is going to stop us from getting super tiny ones on. If you're just trying to have a ball and catch a million skipjack, then throw on something smaller. I mean, you can use this rig for 2 hair jigs and catch them like crazy. Anyhow, so the rig we were using, take some line out here. Was essentially a donkey rig, how I like to rig it, but with 2 paddle tails. So I take my main line, which I'm using 15-pound fluorocarbon. I'm gonna take that and I'm gonna tie a barrel swivel on with a polymer knot. I'm gonna use the excess of that polymer knot and I'm gonna tie on another barrel swivel right there. And then I'm gonna have 1 length of line run into this paddle tail, substantially smaller than what's running to this one, because I don't want these 2 smacking against each other constantly. I want one slightly in front of the other. It's going to help avoid tangle ups. These barrel swivels are going to help eliminate line twists while we're throwing this rig, because we are kind of somewhat working it like a fluke. Now you can straight retrieve this all day long and catch them. I like to straight retrieve it, but I do like to kind of switch it up, stop, give it a couple pops, pull it in, work it like that. Another thing I didn't mention in the video is that these fish will hit this bait multiple times. So if you get a short strike, if you feel you got something on and it pops right off, stop it, give it like 2 pops, wait a couple seconds, and then just start your retrieve on. You're probably going to catch that same fish again. It's probably going to come back for it. It thinks it's disabled that fish with its first strike. And chances are, if you get one on, there's gonna be 100 more right in that area, because when these fish are running, they are running. So that's the rig we were using, the 15-pound fluorocarbon. So I'm using a medium heavy. So I say medium heavy all day is the lightest you should go. You're gonna wanna get these fish in as fast as possible. These fish will jump out of the water multiple times when you're bringing them in. You can't really sit around and play with them. The more you do, the more chance you have of losing them. So I highly recommend working like a medium heavy rod, bit of backbone. This is a St. Croix Victory Series. It's a Grunt, actually. Like, that's the name for it, but it's a 7-1 fast action medium heavy rod. I absolutely love it. This rod is a workhorse. I've had it for years. Kicks butt, man. I use this fishing riprap, and I mean, when my riprap rods take a beating, you know, constantly setting them down on rocks, picking them up, walking past trees, smacking them around on stuff. It has been true for me. I love this rod. Fishing it with a Chronarch. This is a 7. I'm not sure, it's not marked 7 by something, probably 7-1. Anything 7 and up, I recommend probably 7 to 8 for gear ratio, because like I'm saying, you're gonna want a rod that has enough backbone to get that fish in as fast as possible. I mean, even though you're gonna be pulling like 2-pounders in, I think the world record for this fish is like 4 pounds something. So bringing in like 2-pounders, they're gonna be wriggling like crazy. They're gonna be jumping out of the water. You wanna get that fish in ASAP. So medium heavy, 7 point whatever to 8 gear ratio reel, and you're set, man. You're gonna be catching them like crazy. I highly recommend you guys try out this rig if you do have them running in your area. If you don't, I hope you enjoyed the video, maybe learning something new, guys. Hope everybody takes care. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, get some awesome fish on, and I'll see you next time.